There's a few features in Shatter that use the assets directory of your mod. By default, it chooses the directory from the APK that is opened in APK Editor Studio. But you can change the direct. But if you go to Preferences, if you go to Edit Preferences, Add-ins, and then open the Shatter settings, you can choose the path to this assets folder, setting this path. For me, it is set to home, Yorshak's, projects, smash hit, test, the directory I made for specifically for this video, assets. So let me go into this directory, cd projects smash hit test assets. Oh wait, not assets. I usually set it to project smash hit shield assets instead, which is the directory where I develop my mod. But for the purposes for the purpose for the purposes of this video, I made another directory called test. Okay, so what features use this directory? First of all, it's export to assets, or I like to call it auto exporting. So basically, when you export a segment, you have to choose the directory and the file name and all this stuff, and it just takes too much time, and you also have to press this button every time. So it's just more convenient to use the button export to assets. So apparently there's nothing in my assets folder at the moment. And how to use the auto exporting. So first of all, you have to set the location of your segment right here. So you have to set the level name, which is optional, the room name, which is also optional, and the segment name. And when I tried to export to assets, export to assets, it creates a segments folder in my assets directory in which you can see my segments. If I specify the level name and the room name like this, and then export to assets, it is going to export the segment into the right folders, like which is segments, your level name, your room name, and then the segments themselves. We can also export all the segments, all the scenes in the current Blender file using export to using button Shatter extra features export all to APK, located right here. Let me just create some new segments in this Blender file. I'll just copy these boxes and swap them. Is this right? No, this is not right. I'll just do this. Okay. And I also will name this segment differently. So now there should be segments 16.1 and 16.0. And when I press extra features export all to APK, it is going to export both segments to their respective folders. Okay, this is it on auto exporting. Then there's another feature that may involve using your assets directory, which is level test server. So there are two level test servers built in Shatter. One of them is called quick test server, and another one is called Yorshix's asset server, my server. Not very proud of it. It's pure coded. Anyways, so the quick test server doesn't really use the assets directory a lot. It actually has its own directory somewhere in your computer. It creates it. So to use quick test server, you have to open the client, set the right IP address. You can't set the level name using quick test server, unfortunately. And then every time you want to test a new version of your segment, you have to export this segment to quick test. Oops. Private messages. Sorry. You have to export this segment to the quick test. And after I exported this segment to quick test, I'm going to see this segment in the client. Quick test server itself has a few settings that you can set in the scene tab. It can be some special flag. Now let's try to export it to quick test. And as you can see, I changed the fog color and I change here, and you can also change a lot of other stuff. It's pretty straightforward. I hope I don't have to explain that. When you switch to another segment, it is not going to change anything, so you have to export the segment to quick test first. So now the options from this segment and this segment itself has been exported to quick test, and you have to do that every time you change something and you want to see that in the client. Okay. Now to the Yorshix's asset server. The settings for this server are much more simpler, to be honest. Even though this server allows you to do more stuff. So basically, this server uses the levels from your assets directory, but as you can see, I don't have any levels in the assets folder, so I have to create them. And to do that, first of all, I have to open my text editor. Create the levels directory, the rooms directory. Oh, not inside the levels directory, but inside the assets directory. So I created these folders. Now I have to create the level. I'll call it test.xml.mp3. I create the level tag, and inside this level tag, I create a room of type test with length, I guess 100, maybe 200. It should be 200, I think. And start and end set to true. So this is how I create a level. Then I create a room, test.lua.mp3, set file type Lua, so have the syntax highlighting, function init, and function tick, and let me just copy that from another room. Rooms with room show assets, rooms, the place part 1, link, okay, I copied it, and now I should configure the right segments. I don't have to have this, I don't have to have this. It was test 16.0, I think, and test 16.1, all right. So now that I created everything I needed, we can delete these files. Now that I created everything I needed, I can just use the test level. You can select the default level here. It is going to show all the levels you have made in the assets folder. Alright. And now when I try to get into this level, I should see both segments appearing in here. Because I'm loading into this level that loads into this room that loads both of these segments. You can also select the level by the name from the test client, from the Shatter client. But if you want to select levels using this thing, you should always clear it, so there's nothing in it. So this is how it works, I think. Yeah, and of course, this asset server is going to use this assets directory that is set right here. Alright, I think this is it. Maybe I was talking a little bit too fast, but I think this is fine. Okay, this is all on the assets directory functionality and auto exporting and using the client. Bye.